Recording is on.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Sons and Daughters of Liberty. I hope everyone's enjoying their week so far. Hey, Bree. Hopefully, everything's coming in fine. Audio. Like I said, I haven't bothered resetting anything back up. Just mainly because I'll be moving here shortly again, so no sense unpacking everything. Just to do these quick 1 hour give or take podcasts that I've been doing here of late, talking about just random stuff. Tonight it's kind of, rambling of the chaotic mind. Yeah. It's going to be rambling, but it's not going to be chaotic, and it's actually going to be continuing on the same thought processes of my last couple of videos, to be honest with you, and most definitely continuing on the thought processes of some of the spaces I've been doing on Twitter. You know, I talk about how they deceive us and pit us against each other all the time. You know, and I think it's funny I've been enjoying listening to spaces a lot on Twitter. A bunch of different personalities, a bunch of different people, usually open forums, so you get different sides, different perspectives, different opinions. They get kind of combative and argumentative sometimes, and no more than they were yesterday. I mean, yesterday it was bad in a lot of these spaces, and it's but people don't get it. It's the design to be. It was designed for that to happen. I called it as soon as it happened. I voiced my opinion about it, about the J6 videos, how they decided to release them to Tucker Carlson. Exactly what was going to happen. And today starting to see the fallout. But, we're also seeing people question it. It was designed to pit the left versus the right. It was designed to pit MAGA versus non-MAGA, but are still on the right. It was designed to discredit the information. I mean, let's keep it real, guys. If you guys don't know by now, MSN, CNN, they're all left publications. They support the left party, not the right. Fox supports the right. So now, not only we got the Murdoch trial that took place, adding more discredit to Fox, but we have right-leaning politicians coming out saying they need to stop Tucker Carlson from doing this. I mean, this was McCarthy's greatest deception of them all. We're going to release the footage. We're going to release it to the public. Then he gives it to Tucker Carlson of Fox News. when what should have happened, it should have been released to the public. It brought to the House floor, full investigation done with every second and ounce of video gone through, but it didn't happen. Instead, they gave it to a news organization. They gave it to their party-backed news outlet. Now Tucker Carlson and Fox are going to string this out, which isn't helping the people that are locked up without due process. Now there's arguments about that. It's simple. What the DOJ did, they labeled them as domestic terrorists. They didn't right out come out and say that's what they did, but that's what they did, which means they can hold them indefinitely without trial. We know this. We've discussed this. It was part of the Patriot Act. It was part of the NDAA bill. And every time it comes out, it's still in there. They do not have to speedily process these people through. In fact, they don't even have to give them a trial. And what's going to happen, and this is exactly what happened in the spaces, people are questioning the cop that supposedly died, allegedly died, during the January 6th events. I don't know. I'd like to see the time lapse and the timestamps on the videos that Tucker Carlson showed to say one way or the other. If you're going to bring the evidence, you have to bring it all. You got to prove and show you did not edit this to suit your narrative. And I'm not saying it happened or didn't happen. I'm saying it's not there. So you saying this took place afterwards and expect me to take your word for it? I'm not going to. No court, no judge or jury will take your word for it either. Show the timestamps. Make it irrefutable. But most importantly, if Fox News really gave a damn about these people that are locked up, really gave a damn about getting justice, really gave a damn about bringing the truth to what happened on January 6th and how Congress tried to cover it up, how the DOJ lied, all the stuff that everybody's claiming took place, they would put it all out there. Go take the time. We've got it. We're putting it together. We're going to bring it all to you in one episode. We're going to break it down. Still not going to matter because you're still going to have those that listen to CNN, MSNBC refute it. You're going to have the people on the left refute it. This was a ploy for both sides just to stir and continue the division. There is no justice. Why? Because you took this out of the court's hands. You took this out of everyone's hands, and you just basically gave it to your party-backed news affiliate who is right-winged, and you're padding your war chest. You're building your coffers up off this. You're giving Fox and Tucker Carlson, this is what they're doing. They're playing the ratings game. They're going to milk this. Well, if you're milking this ain't helping those that are being illegally detained. Well, that's not quite true either, because they're probably being legally detained under the Patriot Act and NDA bill by label them domestic terrorists. Oh, you're free to come on over and say what you want to say. It is a deception. It is a deception meant to continue to divide people. And I'm tired of it. Nobody's talking about the pipeline that we blew up. Nobody's talking about the spy balloons. Oh, wait, let's get everybody's attention off the spy balloons. Now you need to worry about the shipping cranes. They've got cameras on them. Now we got bigger focus on the rail system, but we got all these fires popping up. I mean, every day it seems like there's a new building going up in smoke, a food processing plant, a chemical plant, a metal building, manufacturing building. Nobody's really talking about the 4 people that were kidnapped, two of which are dead now, or took in Mexico. Americans, oh no, that ain't a problem, but Ukraine is. We need to support Ukraine. We got China really clamping down, saying enough's enough, which, there's where our focus should be anyway, not Ukraine, Russia. What do they want to cover up in Ukraine? You must really have something to say.
I already had that pulled up. You know, in reality, I sit back. Good evening, everybody. I'm Free Spirit. Y'all know how to find me. I'm going to be very short on words tonight. But I've been sitting back through a lot of this J6 stuff, and anybody who's paid attention to the channels knows my former occupation. Um, knows I have a vested interest in the J6 um, situation, and I'm going to say this with all love and respect for everybody here. And Drew and I have a very, very good respect for one another. But, some of the things that I've seen over the weekend, speaking to the Patriot Act, if they are going to slam all of those people, and to my knowledge, there's now like 750 people that are now being charged. 750 people. The videos that I've seen of the J6 event, and that's like now that's 3 years ago now. Come on now, if they really truly wanted to bring justice, um, to the according to the letter of the documents, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, justice would have already been done. True or false, Drew?
Very true. I mean, we
Okay.
we know we watched actual terrorists get put through the court systems faster than what these people in J6 have been put through.
All right. So that's point number one. If they are going to bring justice because of the J6 trials, and knowing that how big this really and truly is, then I don't expect I and I don't even think it's a demand, but they had better than do the same exact thing with all these Antifa bitches.
Oh,
What it
wasn't gonna leave them out.
Oh, I'm absolutely going to throw them little bastards under the bus while I'm driving it. And I might even be inclined to back that bus up a few times too, just because, you know, uh, and it's, it's, I'm at a point where if they are going to crucify somebody to the same level that they are crucifying the J6 guys. All right, so then the Antifa guys better and gals better be crucified. And while you're at it, as long as we're being on the right side of justice here, um, better arrest the top 5 people at the ATF too, and throw them in the hooscow as well. Um, and while you're at it, hate to say it, but the top 5 at the FBI too, because they are complicit. Sorry to say, but if we're calling things out according to the letter of the Patriot Act, hey, am I wrong here, Drew? Am I wrong?
No, it goes. I mean, that's the thing. The real criminals are the ones that are sitting in power right now. That's just the bottom line. Because, in fact, I want to make a little correction here on the little Antifa fucks from Georgia, the little riot that they decided to pull. That was downright terrorism. That was not
Oh,
domestic terrorists
that's
because almost all of them were not Americans. A bunch
no,
they
that's
arrested, they were from
Syria,
Canada,
France,
France.
Mexico, Yemen. There's actually 11 nations represented in the arrest documents and the charging documents.
That is not
11.
domestic terrorism. We need to get the record straight on that here and now. That is pure terrorism activities that take place on U.S. soil. People are gonna say, "Well, they were just motor bombs." You know how many come the 4th of July? You know how many people blow their fucking fingers off, get seriously maimed and really injured because of fireworks? They are considered explosives. In many states, you cannot have them. State of Ohio, for
Yep.
one, you cannot have those types of fireworks. They are explosives. Just like Tannerite
And
is an explosive.
and
I'm
that
sorry, I've seen what a mortar firework can do when it's not put in its tube and you just toss it up under a fucking car. What took place in Atlanta was pure terrorism under under the guise of Antifa. But we don't see the FBI running to the scene. We don't see Congress running to the scene and declaring it what it is because it goes against their agenda. All they want is us pitted against each other, arguing back and forth, divided. While they keep doing all their little, they want shit put to pop off. I can go to my Twitter feed right now, share the screen. I won't do it because I'll be kicked off YouTube for showing racial violence. Because I'm a white person, Caucasian, they will say I am being racist. I'm a supremacist because I'm showing these videos and talking about it. These videos are intentionally being put out there to trigger people because, hey, people are sick and tired of it. So they need us fighting each other. They want to draw up the race thing because it's been dying down over the past few years. It really has. People are getting caught to the little gimmick they use and the race baiting they try to use because they try to say everything's racism, everything's a hate crime until you try to put correct them on it. Say, well, yeah, if a black person beats up a white person because the person's white, that is a hate crime.
yep.
It doesn't matter the color of the skin. If you're who does it, it is equal no matter what. If a white person does it to a black person because he hates black people, guess what? That is a hate crime. But at the same token, if it's a black person and beats up a white person because he hates the white person, it is a hate crime. But you know who the blame is? It ain't to blame them because they've been indoctrinated to believe this. It's to blame the congressmen, the news outlets that keep pushing this psychological warfare propaganda to you. It's to blame. Everybody keeps sharing these one sided videos trying to incite more violence. They want us fighting each other. That's why Marjorie Taylor Greene keeps chomping at the bit for a national divorce, separating the red states and the blue states from each other. It can't work. It never works. And you want to know why it really won't work this time? Because you have people in those states that are both Republican and Democrat, red and blue. You'd have literally, they want the movie Purge to actually happen in real life because that's
Oh
exactly
yeah.
what would happen, all honesty aside, if we did a national divorce like Marjorie Taylor Greene's spewing
And
at the lip.
and she's become part of the cancer.
Oh yeah,
Um, and people, and I can say this because I'm very much um a centrist. I can say it. She's become just as much a cancer as the mainstream media, and dare I say it, even the freelance media, because they keep giving her uh, a platform or a place to regurgitate her narrative, and instead, remove her if you don't give her a place to speak and you don't regurgitate her drivel very quickly. She's gonna fade away. It's I've said the same thing about all these school events. If you don't give them any news or any time in the spotlight, people will eventually quit freaking talking about it. They'll find something else. Um, they'll leave the kids alone. They'll leave the innocence out of it. They'll find something else. You know, all people's got to do is have a cup of shut the fuck up about certain things, and at least from the news media aspect of things, and that hysteria just might maybe um, quell a bit. I don't know, but I can tell you that people will eventually, uh, they'll either A, get so tired of it that they will just simply um, there'll be a divorce, all right, but it'll be between them and their TV. Um, and quite
Well,
honestly,
the whole point of it is they want us fighting each other
oh yeah,
because
absolutely.
they want a civil war. They don't want a revolutionary war because that's what we want. We want the revolutionary. We want our government back. We want it thinned down. We want all this corruption removed. All these so-called agencies that do nothing but further
Well,
the political agenda. I mean, honestly, we're watching neo-Nazi tactics from not World War II Germany Hitler. We're
well,
watching exactly the same propaganda at a far worse scale.
I've asked this question and I've posed this question several times as somebody who's been caught up in, and I'm going to use this term very, very, very loosely, civil war, in several different locations, and you come from an area that was caught up in that same storm as well. Um, what's so civil about war? Because from where I sit, knowing what I know, um, if something like a quote unquote civil war were to break out here in America, there would be absolutely nothing civil about it. Um, and I don't, quite honestly, I've watched The Purge. Um, I think that's putting it mild compared to the hell that would absolutely happen. Quite
Well, yeah,
honestly,
you
um,
you can't make a movie of such what it would really be portrayed because I've stated this. If that happened, it would be you have your religious groups. They'd be at each other's throats. There'd be people going out there murdering the homosexuals, murdering all these transgender people because it goes against their beliefs. Then you'll have the left and right people going after each other. You'll have those that believe in pro-choice or are against pro-choice going at each other. It would be a free for all because that's how divided we are. You'd have your race wars. You would have people just want to be left alone.
so it would in fact be a revolutionary based.
I mean, it, there would be people there. We would have our solid group that would want to keep the focus on that and go after the real culprits. But we're too divided, so we won't have the numbers. Then we got to get along. How do we get along when some parents think it's okay for their kids to go to have these Gotta be careful with my words. I gotta remember I'm on YouTube, not Twitter Spaces.
Right?
They're, it's okay for their kids to. I mean, kids, not 18-year-olds. I'm talking about babies, 5-year-olds, 10-year-olds, to watch a male transvestite do a strip tease, which is illegal in any state because that's
Yep.
all considered an adult entertainment. Cops stand by, let it go. We can't do nothing. Bullshit. Do your job. Arrest them and arrest the parents. Where's the child service protection agency at? Going after the parents that are allowing this to happen for endangering their children. There's nowhere in any society that what's taking place is okay. But that's the trick. They want to pit us against each other. They want to say, because you talked about it, you're a domestic terrorist. Take that domestic terrorist label and shove it up so far up your fucking ass and spin. When you reach the elbow, the fucking ride's over.
Yep.
It's a label. It does not scare me. In fact, I might take a little honor in it and pride in it. If it means standing up for my God given rights, my God given beliefs, if it means standing up for what my founding fucking father stood up for, you're damn right I'd fucking wear that label happy.
And you know that's you hit the nail right on the head. I got into a bit of an argument today, as a matter of fact, because I stood on principle, and I still haven't um, came off of that principle. Um, but that's 90% of the problem. People are not standing, um, and they're not taking a stance for anything. They'd rather um, take a boot on the back of their neck than stand for anything. It's Iron Maiden said it right. If you're gonna die, die with your boots on, for God's sakes. It's stand up. If nothing else, stand up and be counted. You have a voice, use it.
People are scared too because now the DOJ, if you stand up to the school board, you're labeled
If
as
you
domestic
stand up for
terrorist.
anything anymore, it's almost getting to a point. If you stand in opposition at a uh, at your local places of worship, um, it's getting to that point where um, you're ostracized because of uh, your thoughts and views on various things that you're somehow um, because of, like, for me, because my thinking is so outside of the box. I'm always, even though I know pretty much everybody in my house of worship, um, what about the new person that just walked in? You know, my spidey senses are gonna be like Red Line City. You know, and it's people don't stop and think. That's just half the battle. They'd rather
Well, because
that hear something,
they've been
say something.
they've
Yep,
been indoctrinated and programmed not to think.
yep,
I mean,
exactly.
they've been reprogrammed and indoctrinated to not have common sense because a lot of these things we're seeing is common sense. Just like when I seen those videos being posted all over the site, first thing I looked for was a timestamp.
Yep,
There was none. I'm not saying that it's not real or it's fake or that it's fake. I'm just saying if you're going to do an investigative journalistic thing, you're going to make sure it's irrefutable. If you're truly about helping these people get justice, and I'm going to slap something else on here. Whoever's filming those videos of those so-called prisoners in a federal penitentiary, maximum security, is full of shit. Because that's being filmed from an iPhone or a cell phone, which you cannot possess in any prison, whether it be state or federal, and you won't have it no longer than a day. Because as soon as that video got out, they would be shaking down those cells
The
looking for that
entire
phone.
building. The entire building, because
It
I've
is
been involved in those shakedowns.
so. Let's cut the crap right now. That is propaganda. Whoever, whatever CEO that brought that in, bet bet his bank account's well over 5,000. Had a little well over $5,000 increase to it.
Shit.
But that
Try,
phone,
try, try more than that.
well, yeah, being at the federal level, it's pure bullshit. Somebody is playing the system and trying to deceive people. I laughed when I first said that video. I'm like, wait, no, that's impossible. They're sitting there giving a prayer and saying the Pledge of Allegiance, recording it. No, that would never happen.
Nope.
Considering most of these guys are in solitary confinement. Have we forgotten that?
And I know that where and I can't say the exact facility, otherwise before I could even turn around, I'd have probably I could almost guarantee I'd have knocks on my door. Can guarantee it. But I know where at least two of the people are being held at, um,
Uh,
because they do
I, I
pose.
mean, I mean, damn. People at Gitmo had more freedom than what these people got right
Oh
now.
yeah, oh yeah. Um, I won't air it out here, but I will tell you where at least five of the people are being held at. Um, and it's in two different facilities, and it's not freaking Gitmo.
No, I know one of them is actually a level 3 federal penitentiary, so it's not actually a maximum security. That's allegedly where that video came from. Was a level 3 federal penitentiary. Well, a level 3 is close security, close to being max.
I cannot speak to the exactly the level, but I can tell you um, one is known as the Hell of the North,
Uh,
and
well, the
another one,
Hell of the North is a super max.
um, and the other one, it is a split uh, facility. It actually is a split facility, but I can't tell you which it is which, because of security reasons.
Well, that's the other people don't understand. Being it's on the federal level, they can be anywhere in the United States because it's not a state crime because it would happen in D.C. So there's no state prison in D.C. because it can't because D.C. is not a state. It's a whole nother door we're not even going down because I've heard talk about that in the recent few weeks. Which actually I would hope they would do because then the people can say, well, the Capitol, Washington, the White House all needs moved. It is, you know, our founding fathers made it so that it wasn't going to, that the Capitol would never be in a state. It would be a district.
Yep, yep.
It goes back to the thing. These people are just pushing propaganda after propaganda. It's everywhere on such a scale. It's like, honestly, you can't believe anything you're watching or seeing or reading or hearing. Nobody's questioning that prison shit, that federal prison shit. They think it's real. One video might have been. They might have got one in. But if you know anything about all these J6 people that have been detained, they've been detained in close to maximum security facilities and isolation. We've had too many senators that went there, came out and said this. So I'm sorry. No, that's not happening. Anybody, any correction officer out there, anybody's dealt with anything in the prison systems, whether it be federal or state, will tell you no, that don't happen. Because soon as that video would have been reported that happened at this branch and the name of that prison has been announced, that whole place would have been shook down, searched. Everybody would have been strip searched. Everything would have been tore up for that phone.
Right?
People, you got to wake up. You got to wake up and see the game that they're playing. Those J6 videos that Fox News has just ruined it for everybody. And I stated that as soon as I heard McCarthy do it. He's making sure that these people don't get justice. Because now, this shit's no longer going to be admissible in court.
And how many people that have already been convicted could actually go back and take their case back and get their shit overturned just off of this alone?
Well, that's part of the point. Some of them probably can, but the problem is most of this evidence is no longer be admissible in court. What it's preventing, what it's going to prevent them from doing is being able to come back and sue the shit out of Congress and the federal and the DOJ and get recompensated for all that time they spent, all the mental damages they've taken, because that's what happens when you win a wrongful conviction and you serve hellacious time. Whatever the last job you was working on, they got to pay you your salary. Then it gets topped onto all the mental abuse and anguish and all kinds of. They end up making millions off cases like that, and it hurts the states. Problem is, we're not dealing with the state here. We're dealing with the federal. We're dealing with this took place in the District of Columbia. So, and I'm sorry. This is going to ruin these people's lives because they're not going to be able to get justice.
Nope. All you're going to find is just them.
Yep. If Tucker Carlson and Fox News are actually about the people like they claim and not about the label, they would stop and release it all to the public.
Yep.
Not touch anything else.
Yep.
But they're not going to because it's all about ratings. It's all about money. It's all about doing what the right tells them to do. Just like if it was given to the left, it's all about what the left's doing. All they're doing is building the right's campaign war funds, filling their coffers for the next few elections. They're raking in the money. They're raking in the ratings at the expense of innocent people because they are entitled to a fair trial, which they can no longer get because it's been put in the media. And so many people praise McCarthy for doing it. No, that was not his place to do. What he did was actually illegal. It was to be, if anything, it was to be released to the public, or it should have been brought to the House floor, released to the public in open hearings right there, going through every bit of it, holding everyone accountable. And that including holding AOC accountable for lying. And Pelosi, as she refused. But it also means it takes it back to the stupid pipe bomber. Because J6 should have never happened. DC should have been on lockdown. National Guard should have been in the area all of DC should have been locked down because of the pipe bombs, which, who gave that order to not let them in, not let them do the job? The inauguration should have never happened. The J6 should have never happened.
There's
But
so many
but
questions.
now here's the other thing. What's happening right for the last 2 weeks? What's been happening in the Supreme Court that nobody's talking about?
There's a lot of two-way stuff that's going up that route real fast.
Nah, this is probably the biggest thing in front of the Supreme Court in our nation's history since the founding. To talk about, they are reviewing the fucking election. They're reviewing whether to remove Biden and reinstate Trump right now. They have been doing it for the last 2 weeks.
That
It is a very dangerous grounds. I would never want to be a Supreme Court justice on that, because that is, I mean, that's you surrounded yourself with tinder, gunpowder, every bit of explosive, volatile chemical that can ignite just with a spark, because that's what will happen. No matter what
no,
they rule on here.
oh, any and I've seen a post. Um, I
But
didn't get a chance to read it, but I did see a post that it was something of
oh yes, I am recording this video because since I'm going to be talking about this little subject, which still violates YouTube's channel policies, which I don't see how stating facts and stating what's going on in, a, in our Supreme Court is violation, because I'm not questioning
I
elections, because I've stood back and said what January 6th, they based their rulings and decisions on what was done. I want people to understand that, because that's how our system was set up. If our election is being contested, the representatives come in, they view the evidence, and at that time, yes, there was court cases in court about election fraud, but they had not been ruled on at that point. I think the first ruling came in February or March.
March.
Then there's been subsequently more rulings that backed that, which would have changed the vote of January 6th if the
Yep.
politicians actually represented their state, because they could not lawfully commit to Biden when these states' elections were proved to be fraudulent. And these are documented court cases where were proven to be fraudulent. So now the Supreme Court, this is the second time they've heard this argument. And the last I read, they're leaning towards it because these cases have been won. Because there's no precedent for after January 6th. So Biden, for all that we want to bitch and gripe and say, no, he's not our president. Well, it goes back to like Obama. Yep, he's the president I didn't vote for, but he was still my president. Unfortunately, Biden is
Well,
our president because of what transpired, because there's no rules, laws, regulations that state anything otherwise, other than once they make their decision on January 6th, that's it. No matter what
what
happens after the court, it's taken out of Congress's hands. But it's
what
not taken out of the Supreme Court hands.
what
So we have one of the
the
biggest monumental cases setting in the Supreme Court that nobody's talking about, because many fear the consequences of it, because those consequences are damning. Those consequences could be very damning for Congress, for the FBI, the DOJ, And
Everybody.
anybody actually listened to what Trump said. What Trump said was very damning for America because he flat out dis- he beat around the bush, but he said he would bring in the military, declare martial law without saying it, because that's exactly how the only way it can be done, and
Yep.
remove all these illegals, these criminals, to give people in the J6 justice. Literally would be going against Congress and those that may have helped hide evidence. That's what his rhetoric at CPAC was dangerous. So I'm all about pointing the finger and pointing the blame where it's truly deserved. And you know what's worse? You know what they fear most? Is Supreme Court making that ruling, Trump taking over as president, serving a 4-year term where that's his last term. He can't serve again. The damage he could cause is insane. And they fear that because nothing's going to potentially hold him back from having people removed, arrested, put on trial, charged with sedition and treason. And that's what they're fearing. I mean, we've got, and you wonder why, they're trying to spark and provoke a national divorce, a civil war, or anything that they can get to pop off. Right now, our southern border, people are coming across it that are terrorists. We have no proof, but all these fires, all this shit that's happening, the attack on our substations, on our electrical grid, these mysterious fires at these warehouse plants, food processing plants, you can't call them coincidences anymore because they're happening almost every day. It is a deliberate attack on our country, what's happening within our country.
I
Our,
said that long ago.
our Congress, our administration are intentionally bankrupting this country. They're doing everything in their power to destroy this country from within. And it's time we focus on that, not who's right, who's wrong, and getting caught up in this stupid game. We need to start calling out all the bullshit, all the propaganda that they're doing. We need to realize that Fox News is no better than CNN, MSNBC. They're all guilty. They're all label based. And you need to quit hiding behind your damn labels. You're not a Republican. You're not a Democrat. You're a U.S. citizen. You're an American. That's your label. We're all supposed to be brothers and sisters. We're not supposed to be fighting amongst each other. We're supposed to be taking a stand against this type of tyrannical corruption as a united front, not a divided front. Until you guys can see that and have the common sense to see you guys have all been played and being played like puppets for their amusement and monetary gain. It's got to stop. You guys got to wake up, or we're truly going to see the downfall of this great nation. I mean, fuck. What, 3 weeks ago, we had that ice storm. We had a pole come down. It didn't come all the way down. But it was just one pole. It was still up. You know the pole. A new pole still laying out there. They haven't fixed it. They still got a road closed sign up. All they did was came out with some cables and tethered off a hanging pole instead of fixing it. 3 weeks has gone by. Almost everybody's got their power up. And they still haven't fixed their pole. They still got our road
Jesus
closed.
Christ.
And you know what the worst part of it is? They really didn't care. Why? Because it was only our house that was affected because they only tripped our breaker, fuse breaker on the pole. So everybody else around us had power. So, just one person. They don't care. We'll get to it when we get to it. If it comes down, it comes down. Well, in here about 2 weeks, that farmer out there is going to be wanting to work his field, and you got cable strung. He might not care, and he might just plow right over that cable and bring that pole down. They don't care.
No, they don't.
You know, you can scream bloody murder. I can call the sheriffs every day. They don't blue in the face about it. They're not going to do nothing. Because Toledo Edison's a corporation. They don't care. Oh, we'll get to it when we get to it. We got other priorities. What other priorities you have? Oh, because we live out in the rural area. I mean, really, it's only going to take one good thunderstorm as we're approaching spring with high winds to probably bring that pole the rest of the way down. But that's everywhere. They're doing
Yeah.
shoddy work on the infrastructure. You know, there's so many good argumenting topics we should be focused on that could better our areas, better our communities. But no, we're too busy worried about, well, if I take a stand against the school board, I'm going to be labeled a domestic terrorist. Or I'm going to piss off my neighbor. Or they're going to harass my kid and force them out or kick them out. Got to stop living in fear. You got to start having a backbone and taking a stand. There's so many people out there in the community. If they, as soon as they start seeing other people take a stand, they're going to join you because they're just as tired of it. But nobody wants to be that first person. Nobody wants to be that Paul Revere. And as we know, there was many Paul Reveres.
Yep.
That made that ride, infamous ride. There was many Boston Tea Parties before the Boston Tea Party even took place. The problem is we allowed them to divide us so much. We allowed them to push and control us through fear of being labeled something that we're not. While they get away with whatever they want. Probably many of them would be sitting in federal prison right now for this little black book that they decided to seal so nobody could ever read it or see it to protect themselves. You know, we don't need an ethics board. We don't need Congress policing themselves because they won't. They can't. They'll protect their own. It goes back to the little brotherhood thing. Same problem we have with cops. They protect their own, even though when their own is in the wrong, because of that brotherhood. That's how the cops have lost respect from the communities, from the people. When they let dirty cops do dirty things and they don't stand up and remove them. If you're not willing to do the right thing, you're just as guilty as the bad thing.
Yep.
You know, it's just like, I try not to go on a tangent about other streamers. But, I mean, you do. I mean, how many people now are labeling themselves influencers? I mean, what the fuck? You're not an influencer. Quit using their labels, their terms. Because that's the label and term they're going to use to come get you. Because you're influencing people. You're not. You're educators. I don't influence nobody. I give you my opinions and my views. Take it for what you want. It's up to you to make a decision. It's up to you to formulate your own opinions and views. It's not my job to force my will upon you. It's my job to make sure you have free will, to make sure you're you are a free thinker. Those are the very things that they hate. They can't stand. They can't have a free society thinking for themselves and questioning things. It's just like all this censorship can be really quickly nipped in the bud when their pay when their advertiser comes to them and tells them, "We're going to take our money back. We're going to stop paying you for these advertisements if you don't censor that person." All they got to do is say, "Well, go ahead. We don't need you. I can get 4 other people to cover what you're paying me." But they don't. Corporations are protecting corporations. And they become just as guilty of dictating the narrative, the status quo. That's why nobody could talk about the COVID stuff because of big pharmaceutical corporations and the millions of dollars that they dump to YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, to our own government through lobbyists to control their product. And probably half our congressmen and women invested in the pharmaceutical companies, so they're not going to want to hurt their bottom line. They want to get an increase on their investment, not a decrease, so they're not going to say nothing. It's a corrupt system. But the only people that suffer is the everyday citizens, the middle class, the poor. We're the ones that suffer. We're the ones that pay the price. We're the ones paying the price at the pumps right now at the grocery stores. You don't see them trying to fix these problems. They talk about it. That's all they do. They rather spend time and taxpayers' money on these bullshit ass committees that do nothing, that result into nothing. Instead of actually write legislation, write laws, reforms that better America, that builds America back up. Nope, we rather spend our time in the committees. Fucking Jim Jordan, you're a crock of shit. All you want to do is committee, committee, committee. That's all they all want to do. And all you do is talk. No action, ever. None of these social media companies have ever been held accountable. FBI has not been held accountable for the Twitter leaks. DOJ has not been held accountable for the Twitter leaks. So what good is these committees if there's nothing being done? Exactly. There's nothing good about them. It's a waste of time. It is a deception. It's nothing but a smoke and mirrors 3-ring circus. But we'll spend all this time talking about it, arguing about it. Boy, that effort could be sure as hell made by picking people out of our communities to be the future congressmen and women, future mayors, future governors, future presidents. Oh, by the way, if that sounds fabulous, let me talk about something even more scarier. All those young 10-year-olds that'll be 18 come the next election during Trump's administration.
Oh God! I just got a body shiver. That all
The
that in and of
young,
itself.
the young, influenced, indoctrinated
Impressionable
kids
minds.
that's been through all this transgender gender identity propaganda bullshit are the ones that are going to be voting for our next presidential election, our next Congress. You think things are bad now?
If we get that far, let's be real. Let's keep it on the real here. If Trump gets back in for 4 years, 4 unadulterated years that he cannot be impeached, and I'm sure that the Supreme Court would put that in their ruling that he would be a seated president, and could not be removed or impeached. Um, you think?
Well, go ahead. I'll let you finish.
Do you honestly think, knowing that, given
Actually,
that,
Recording is on.
all right, we're
do,
back.
do, do you do you honestly think, um, for a moment, that now that Russia, though they are a legitimate threat, and that's, let's face it, that's smoke and mirrors. It's just a dog and pony show at this point. Um, do you think for a moment that the and now that China is squarely the number one threat in the world at this point, um, that would not create a serious moment of uh, a global what the fuck moment, that a a, a Xi Jinping would not think, okay, now we have a serious problem on our hand, um, because we all know that Trump is not somebody who would play nice with China at all. He absolutely would not play nice. Um, Nor did he ever play nice with them. Um, while he was in office on the last run. So why would he do? He would actually be more bombastic, um, with countries like China, North Korea. Um, you know, where how many directions, and I have no disrespect for the man, but I'm just stating the obvious here. Um, True that every time we went to war, it's usually started with a Democratic president. Just look at history, folks. Not lying here. Um, but we need to call an ace here and a spade. And the reality is the clock is ticking.
Oh yeah.
And you need to study your divine numerics here real close, and realize that the United States is the new kid on the block. And not that I have any love for Biden or Trump, either one. I'm just going to say that, and I'm, as somebody who's served this country for a very long time, and the last couple elections, it was, which evil is worse, and if Trump was to get back in, at either end of that situation, it either ends up in a civil situation or a global situation. Either way, it's war. That's how I see it.
No, what will happen is if we do go that route and the Supreme Court would actually make a ruling on this, part of me hopes they don't. That's because of just the situation the state of situation that we are currently in. We are a nation divided. That would destroy our nation
Oh,
because that would be
absolutely.
dividing, and that actually could change the dynamics because it would be a revolutionary slash civil war because it would split. You think Biden and his administration is going to give up power because the Supreme Court said you're a defunct president? No, they're going to fight. They're going to rally all the left, all the Antifa, and they're going to fight. Let me tell you something now. Gun prices seem to be at an all-time low. I'm seeing deals where you can buy an AR-15 and a sidearm for under $1,000 as a combo pack. I'm seeing bulk ammunition, dirt cheap it's ever been for buying a 1,000 round box, and stocked up today, sold out by tomorrow. Shit
Yep.
flying off the shelves at a record
I,
number.
I, I've,
Right now,
I,
the gun manufacturers and ammunition manufacturers can't keep stuff in stock. That should be the writing on the wall.
when I can look at a name, and please don't. I'm a Glock girl. Sorry, I'm a, I'm dyed in the wall Glock cat. Love my Glocks for a sidearm. But when I can go, and Glocks usually between 5 and 700 bucks, depending upon which one you want. Um, but when I can go buy the brand new Beretta APX, it's same exact size as a Glock 17 or 19 for 500 bucks, and still have an extra 100 bucks to blow on ammo to break that gun in for the same price as I would pay for a Glock 19. Um, and it's sight ready for whether it be a red dot or otherwise. It's sight ready. Um, you know, for an extra 50 bucks, I can have that extra sight pad put on the gun for 50 bucks more. You know, by Beretta, one of the oldest firearm companies in the world. Um, you know, that should absolutely say something. And for me to despair Glocks for something, that absolutely says something. Um, you know, people need to
Me
pay
personally,
attention to these.
it's just a fucking label.
It
I don't
is, but
I don't I don't care what brand
it,
it is.
if I could throw it in water in a 5 gallon bucket of water, leave it there overnight, loaded, and take it out, shake out the water, shake out the mag well, put the mag back in it, and cycle the gun, reload it, and it goes bang, or if it'll go bang right out the water, hey, that
I don't
it's
even
got
care
my
about that.
attention.
The only thing I
But
care about is simple. What is the most popular ammunition out
nine
there
mil.
on the market today? It's either it's a toss up now between 9 mil and 45 ACP. That's the most
I
common carried rounds for a weapon. Then you got your standard for your AR platforms 5.56, 2.23. I don't care what the make of the gun is or the label of the gun is. As long as it shoots in those calibers, that's what I'm going to have. But you know what? Something even better. I'll be happy with my fucking 12 gauge pump shotgun. It'll do it's just as effective. And long as the shells are 3 inch, you can feed it all day long, and they're really quickly to reload on a reloader, and I could have mass supply. And don't get me wrong, everything has its purpose. Everything has its limitation and for reach wise or a scenario. But this shit's all going off the shelves. People are buying now more than ever weapons. And it doesn't
It's
matter the brand. I'm seeing people giving praise to Ruger and Savage for their AR platforms now. I mean, I mean,
I have issue with Ruger, but for a
but
couple of theirs, but their
I mean,
10.2s are
it goes to
nice.
the point though. It doesn't matter the make or brand of the gun. A weapon's a weapon. That's exactly what it is.
Right.
It's your how much time are you willing to put to get proficient with it, get skilled with it. It doesn't matter the make. In fact, it doesn't even really matter the caliber. I know a bunch of people that started out are marksman shooters off 22s.
That's what I started with.
I mean, most of us, that's what we started with. Our first rifle would have been a 22. Our first handgun would have been a 22. Our, and a shotgun. Then, as we got proficient with it, we upgraded to a 9mm, a 45. You know, it's just about being proficient. It's about taking the time, getting out in the range, and getting your skill set. But we're living in a society where most people feel more comfortable being armed. I watched a training video from a YouTuber. I'm not going to drop his name, but he's former Navy SEAL, and he does these short videos of scenarios with weapon defense. And the last one I watched, it was a hostage situation in your home. You come home and you just happen to walk in. Dude's got a gun or a knife to your wife. And what do you do? I mean, you got three options. Now, depending on your skill, and that's exactly what he said, how do you address that situation? Do you call the cops and wait for the cops to come? Well, I for one, no. That's just going to escalate the situation. But, you know, there's a but. Do I have the training for a hostage negotiation? Do I know, am I skilled enough to talk my way through that situation to de-escalate it enough to where I can get him to move so I can get a shot? You know, it's a situation. It makes you think. It's a scenario based on the skills that you have. Well, maybe waiting for the cops to come is the better idea, even though it's a higher risk if you have the skill set to take care of it yourself, because that's just going to escalate the situation. And we got to, how long does it take for them to respond to your area? It's all of, there's so many things that come in play. And there is no right or wrong answer to the question, because in the end, it is the individual at the time and their skill set, their mindset, and what transpires. That's why, if you're going to get firearms, train yourself. Take time to spend on the ranges. Stay proficient in it. Just like me. You know what I've been doing past couple days? Yeah, I'm getting ready to move. But every time March comes around, I'm pulling out all my fishing gear, undoing my lines, checking my lines, oiling my reels, checking my poles for cracks or if the eyes are broke, going through my fishing tackle, getting everything ready, lubricated for fishing season. Just like I'm getting my winter shit out of the back of the Suburban and putting my spring shit in my backup bug out bag. I'm just, it's that changing the seasons. Well, guess what? We're going through political changes. We're going through all this propaganda, conflict. Everybody's on at is what is the word? At ease? No, not at ease. Unease. Because everything's spiraling out of control. It's chaos out there. There's so many things that have been started that's just been festering for so long. Things are coming to a head much faster than they normally do because people are pushing it to make it so. Those are the things we need to set back, stop, pay attention, and realize the things we're seeing is being done deliberately. There's the deception. It's not random. It's not accidental. It's deliberately being done. Giving Fox News and Tucker Carlson all that footage was wrong, but it was deliberately done. They're not happy unless we're fighting each other. They're not happy if we're united. In fact, they
or
don't
even
want us ever.
remote.
They don't even want us stable
No.
because we're stable. We'd be able to have a conversation like we're talking right now with everyone, no matter the label or the political party, because they wouldn't see the party. They would see the common sense that these things are happening. They'd be questioning, why are these things happening? But right now, it can't be done. Every space I go on to, you know, I wasn't a fan of spaces. Still really not, but I enjoy it. It's different format than YouTube. In fact, I can say whatever the fuck I want on a space and not have to worry about being taken down midstream or the video taken down. But I can have anybody can just join right in. If they want to talk, all they got to do is raise their hand, hit the little icon to raise their hand, or DM me, and I'll give them the floor to talk. And that's what's it's kind of so unique about spaces, which you can do on YouTube, but it's hard to get people to come over here and do it because you got to somewhat have a censor game going on. Well, you can't be careful. I'm not on that. I pretty much let everybody say what they want, but I do know where that boundary line is and how far you can go over it without getting nailed. I mean, 6 years on here on Sons and Daughters of Liberty, and I've only had 2 videos, which happened last year, get struck down. And it was because talking about the elections, which is our due diligence. But they don't care. They set YouTube as a corporation. They set their terms of service and their policies that support the money that advertising companies are investing to YouTube. So they're going to not care about a little person like me or a big person like Tim Pool because we're not generating that much money. Their real money's coming from these advertisements, these multi-million-dollar contracts with these advertisements. But we can nip that in the bud too. I've proven this. In 6 years, only 2 videos. And you hear the shit I talk and the shit I say. Why do I get away with? 1, small channel. 2, not monetized. I don't do Merc. Which I don't generate YouTube no money other than what little traffic that happens to land on my page or on my video. So I give them no reason to mess with me. Quantity is a joke. Quality is priority. Quality is a healthy living. Because we can have these conversations with people within our chats. And we outlast a lot of these big channels. And we can talk about the things that they want to go hide behind a paywall and talk about. I mean, I'm watching people right now making their chat rooms private for only subscribed members. I mean, what? Don't you care about your audience? Have you forgotten you've gotten this big because of the everyday people, the non-subscribers too? But now you're saying their opinions and their views don't matter in your chat rooms? Piss off. You're just as guilty as all the rest of them. In fact, you're worse. Because now you're just about the money. You don't care about the people that's gotten you there anymore. You're just like everybody else. So piss off. I'm not going to share your content. I'm not going to give you a like. In fact, I'm going to give you a thumbs down. But that's what everybody wants. They want it to be a big pissing contest. They want it to be, I want to be a millionaire by doing these videos. No, I don't. This ain't a livelihood. Because when it becomes a livelihood, I'm going to lose focus on the things that matter the most, the conversation, the topics that really matter. I'm not going to talk about because if I do, I'm going to get punished for. Then I'm not helping anybody out there that wants to hear the real message, wants to hear some real truth, uncensored, unfiltered reality, the conversation that sparks questions, that makes you think. Basically, if I would do what everybody else wants to do, I would be part of the problem. And I'm not going to ever be part of the problem. You know, shit. It's like I went into somebody's space. I usually go into this one group space because it's a break. It's a break for anything because they're just in their bullshit, talking about whatever, having fun, get a few laughs, makes my day better. Well, they got pissy because, oh, if you're not going to talk, get the fuck out of my space. All right, bet. Fuck off. I didn't come here to talk. If I want to talk, I'll go to YouTube and do a video, a live stream, or I'll create my own space. You know, I find these certain little spaces that are entertaining and fun to listen that's really not talking about the everyday shit that I deal with over here. It becomes my little getaway break. But hey, you don't want me because I don't want to talk. Half the time I don't got time to talk. I'm just there to listen. And some of these channels don't. I mean, Bree, you know me. Would you want me to talk?
Yeah. That's one of the reasons why I don't um go to a lot of the spaces because if I opened up over there, oh my, you by the time I got done, you'd hear a pin drop.
I
Um,
mean, I
quite
mean, you wouldn't witness my talking firsthand. I mean, I got your Facebook channel taken down, or page taken down.
yeah. I mean, and, and I can't even remember just what video that was over. For God's sake, I think I was at the beginning of uh the bug. I can't remember. Been so freaking long ago.
I mean, I'm flat out. I'm not everyone's cup of tea. I don't want to be everyone's cup of tea. I want to be different. But like I said, there is a time and place for things. And eventually there's going to be a time where eventually I am going to speak at some of these big spaces. And they're not going to like what I say. And I don't care. Because I did my job. Because I did exactly what I was supposed to do. Make them think. Make them question. Make them realize that some of the stuff they're arguing about is frivolous nonsense bullshit that is designed to pit them against each other. We need to stop living in the deception and start living in reality. Reality is we are at war. We're at a cultural war. We're at a war for our very freedoms and rights and liberties. We passed that crossroads. We passed that point of no return a long time ago. Most people are trying to, think we're still in it. We're not in it no more. That's quite evident. It's no longer a silent war because we're tired of being silent about it. Like I said, you want to label me a domestic terrorist? Go ahead. I'll wear that fucking label fucking proudly. But are you ready for the can of worms that comes with it? Are you ready to label somebody that is a direct descendant of the founding fathers domestic terrorist? I mean, in their sense, that's what they were.
Yeah, by their definition of today. Yeah.
Do you want to really set fire to what our freedom and liberty really stands for? Do you want us to reignite that fire? Many of us have no problem reigniting that fire. And many of us can play the very same games you're playing better than you can.
A lot of people, they don't understand.
Fuck,
Um,
our founding fathers invented propaganda. Let's keep it real.
right, and they also fail to understand or can even wrap their brain around why people still to this day go back and because they know the history so well, why they choose to go back and reenact those very early days, whether it be the various battles, whether it be Lexington, Concord,
Gettysburg.
Gettysburg. What about the ride? You know, or the any of the different battles throughout between the North and the South. You know, people forget how there's many people that are reenactment actors that their minds are they're very articulate people and extremely intelligent people that they're not just out there. Yes, they're reenacting, but they're studying, they're learning at
Uh-huh.
a faster rate. And this is why, I hate to use, because I rather detest paintball stuff, but we've seen an explosion, an absolute explosion of these um, 2, 3, and 5 day scenarios for paintball warfare go
Fuck,
up
they're not even
all over the
scenarios
country.
anymore. They're
No,
they're considered a college sport now.
it,
Colleges
it's
have teams for paintball
for air,
wars.
for that and airsoft. Yeah, airsoft has actually gotten even bigger than paintball, actually. Um, but it's people need to stop and think that a lot of these um, reenactors, a lot of them actually do have uh, previous military service to begin with, so they actually do understand rank and file. But majority of them are students of history first and foremost, and a lot of them are like you, descendants of our founding fathers, and so they really need to stop and think um, really hard about this, and you know the writing on the wall. And I'm gonna be silent after this because um, my head's starting to do a number and a half on me. But uh, you know the roads that are being trudged down right now are the very roads that were trudged down 245 years ago. And that ending wasn't a happy ending for many people. And, you know, I hate to sound prophetic, but Daytime, you know, that yellow flag is yellow for a reason. And it's, I'm fearing that things are going to get rather spicy here, or stupid, one or the other. Um, if there isn't a brake pedal applied here somewhere, and some level of common sense, whatever the hell that is in this day and age, um, people in places of power, and decision, but it's moreover discernment, not decision, but discernment at this point. Um, really need to weigh this very heavily, um, because the very opposite of deception is discernment, and it goes back to that pre-programming, coming out of that. Well, I don't have an idiot box because I accidentally dropped my gun and, well, my TV got shot. So, yeah, 9mm, 147 grain, that takes care of a TV real quick, wouldn't you say?
Uh-huh.
And so I don't have that problem no more. But, people need to unplug, and instead of at the supper table, families even do that anymore together, at night, unplug and get away from the media in general, and that includes us to a degree too.
Oh yeah.
And there's, otherwise they're gonna absolutely FAFO,
Well,
for real.
I'm happy. I'm here in a few more weeks. I'm gonna be back to fucking to where I'm gonna be unplugged from a lot of things for a while, and I'm not gonna plug right back in. There's, between the new job, then there's gonna be plenty of work that needs to be done at my friend's homestead and the community based in that area. Which I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to getting back to some peace and quiet and some serenity.
People see, this was part of that psyop of this indoctrination system, was by indoctrinating the houses of worship, and some form of spirituality, something. I don't care if it's a rock, for God's sakes. I know what works for me, but something. But they were very crafty and very quick to remove the spirituality concept out of the homes, very quick and very masterfully, to where there's no moral compass left. And
they put the final nail in that coffin when they shut everybody's places of worship down for COVID. So
that was done, but that was actually done way before that. That was our Rubicon moment. That absolutely was the Rubicon moment. That we absolutely had a chance and had a choice. Do we stand as one, or do we fall like our predecessors? And every single church, they weren't willing to risk their 501c3 status, and keep their doors open. So we saw what happened there. But this actually was it was this was actually set in motion long before COVID was even thought of. This started, and an argument could be waged started way back in the 70s. And I think it actually started even before that. Um, but there's evidence of in the very early 70s that on certain news channels you couldn't speak of God, and that was fact. That was one of those quote unquote swear words you couldn't say on TV or radio, except on Sundays for God, or church or houses of worship. Um, you can only make reference to that on a Sunday. But outside of that, um, any form of spirituality was slowly being picked apart. Um, Going back into the 70s and through the 80s, they steamrolled that. 90s, they used just like in the 80s, they used the entertainment industry to strip away that even faster and farther. 90s, they kept that up, and then they added the movie scene into that. Into the 2000s, they quit being secretive about it. They absolutely did. So people want to talk about removing spirituality and some form of family normalcy into the situation. Proof is all there, folks. Just go look at it. Go look for it. It's there. But as soon as you remove that moral compass from the moral fiber, this country was doomed. And there could be arguments that it actually goes back even farther than that, but I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole any farther. Drew kind of knows what I'm dealing with, and I haven't been able to do a video on that. That's just yet. That is coming. Um, when I'm able to. But till then, Drew, I'm going to sit back, keep quiet, and listen.
All right, I'm going to be wrapping this up here shortly anyway, because, well, it's got to get about, well, it's about that 2 hour mark anyway, so it's going to get wrapped up regardless. But, yeah, I agree with everything you said there too. But, to me, it goes back to they even tried pitting people against each other about the vaccines, the vaxxers versus the unvaxxers. They even started creating a hashtag, purebloods, which was a joke. It was a psychological propaganda warfare to pit the vaxxed versus the unvaxxed by creating another label to label yourself against people that, many of them were harmed from the vaccine. Some of them weren't. It's a 50-50 coin toss on that one. But the more we're learning, the more truth that's coming out now. We're starting to see it for what it was. But we got to stop falling into those deceptions. When we see something that is trending, ignore it. When you see something stupid as purebloods trending, ignore it, because that's meant to pit you against each other. It's meant to divide you. We got women out there saying, well, I'm not going to marry a vaccinated man. We got men out there looking for women that are unvaccinated so they can have children. Because, some scientific reports, some reports saying, it's decreased the sperm count in men. It's damaged the reproductive systems of women. Who knows? Because it was clinically untried. It did not go through years of trial. So we're just now starting to see the side effects. And you can't believe any of it, because who knows who's right or wrong? Who knows what's propaganda, what's not? Because we don't have the full capability to follow the money. If you could follow the money, you would know who to believe. It's that simple. Follow the money. All these fact checkers, all these scientists that were getting funded, money donated to them, government funding, corporate money dumped into them to do their research, is only giving the research, just like Fox is only doing what the Republican Party wants them to do. These researchers and scientists and fact checkers are only doing what the people that gave them money to do. So they're not going to refute what they said. The ones that do, we call them whistleblowers, but they have no protection. Shit. James O'Keefe at Project Veritas. He breaks probably one of the biggest stories. And look what happened to him. You know, you can't argue the shit that happens right in front of you at face value. And many of these cases, the ones that are refuting the scientists, that are scientists, by the way, are the ones that don't have all that big funding coming to them. They don't got government funding. They don't got pharmaceutical money, dumping money into their pockets. You know, there's a way to discern the bullshit from the facts. And a lot of it is simple. Unprogram yourself, become free thinkers, and listen to that voice inside you. When you see something that's like, man, what? That's not right. It's like when I seen that video, the prison video. Hey, no, that's something wrong there. And it's like, it's right there in front of your face. It's impossible. Well, it's not impossible, it's improbable. Especially if you listen to the stories of the J6 people. That was bullshit. That was staged. That's propaganda. It's plain as day. If you just open your eyes and fucking look and see it. It's plain as day the shit that's going to happen with this J6 stuff. A design. McCarthy designed it and played it out flawlessly. Give it to them. It'd pit people against each other, cause arguments. It'd be discredited. It'd be questioned. Then more than likely, no court will even allow it to be admissible in the court as evidence because it's got media attention, so no court can actually justify and hear a court case. We allow it in because it's being can't get a jury that hasn't seen it. Wake up, guys. It's just one more failure of our own Congress, our own government, playing you as suckers, as puppets. You guys really need to take a look in the mirror. Who are you? Are you a label? Are you really that stupid to believe that you're a Republican and a Democrat? No, that's not your name. That's not who you are. And if you say you're an American and a constitutionalist, then you're definitely not a label. Because you're only going to vote and elect people that uphold and defend and protect that Constitution, protect your rights and freedoms, not promise you like a snake oil salesman that they're going to do something and when they get in office, not do it. They're all guilty. Time you guys face the facts. Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's just another AOC. She's just the Republican version. Trying to send you further into division and civil war. That will be far worse than anything we've ever seen. It's time that we all get a dose of reality. The reality is they want us fighting against each other. The reality is we know what the laws are. We know what common sense is. We know rights and wrongs. And for those that call yourself police officers that allow these drag shows with these kids in there, shame on you. You need to turn that badge in. You're a completely disgrace to that badge and oath you took. Because it's against the laws. That is an adult entertainment business. You have to be 18 years older to go into an adult bookstore, to go into a gay bar, to most bars. Hell, you got to be 21 to buy cigarettes. Common sense. Grow a backbone. Do your jobs. Screw what they're going to say. We can't do that. We'd get fired. Stand up and get fired. I hate to say it. That's what needs to happen. I mean, Texas is becoming a shithole now. Why? Because all the people that ran from California went to Texas. All the people that ran from Portland. Look, shit, Walmart doesn't even want to be Portland anymore.
Yeah, I saw that.
A corporation says you went too far. I mean, that's how bleak it's gotten. That's how bad it's gotten when a corrupt corporation says we can't stand your corruption. We're pulling all of our stores out of there. That's bad.
Yeah. It says something.
That really does say something. Yeah, it does. That's bad.
Even for Walmart. Come
Yeah, I mean, we all know the history of Walmart.
They used to be so far right. They were damn near left, and now they've went completely the other direction.
That's what needs to take place. Honestly, we need to wake up and we need to stop supporting things like that. I mean, I get it. It's fucking hard to find any place. I mean, I look around me. I was drove into town yesterday, and it was like, man, another furniture store closing? That's like the sixth one, and these are furniture stores that have been around since I was born. They just closed up shop and going out of business. Why? Because most people, it's cheaper to fucking buy it off Amazon and have it delivered to their house and set up. Or buy the cheap-ass products from Walmart. Have it delivered. Yeah, COVID screwed a lot of things over. COVID killed the mom and pop stores. But so did these big corporations that our government won't slap restrictions on them and break up the monopoly. They don't want everyday people to have businesses.
Nope.
That's just the facts. They don't want you to succeed and strive. Because when we're succeeding and striving, guess what? We're happy. We're spending more time at the dinner table with our families. We're paying attention to what our kids are learning in the classrooms. We're spending less time on social media. We're doing things outdoors within the communities. They don't want that. They don't even want you going to the theaters or public events. They don't want you going into Walmarts and the stores. They would much rather have you ordering it online, just having it delivered, because they trick you into it's ease and convenience when it's not.
Let me jump all over that one real quick. I was talking to my pastor and his wife yesterday, and they're like, because I have some serious issues with lights and whatnot right now, and they're like, so how do I do my shopping? They're like, I'm betting that you do the online thing, and I'm like, right, like I'm going to give some putts the power to dictate what goes in my shopping cart. And they're like, what? I was like, I will do my own shopping, thank you. I says, I'm not going to give some 18, 19-year-old kid the power to put in my cart what he thinks based on his taste and his twisted ideology, what goes in my cart that I'm going to have to pay for. And if it's not what I exactly ordered, it's going to take me 30 days to fight for a refund. And in most cases, you don't get a refund. You're lucky if you get your item switched. At your cost, of course.
I think I pissed somebody off at Twitter.
Now, that's a daily thing for me whenever I do go on there. But it's that's just one of the many instances that people aren't seeing.
Oh my fucking god. This is just hilarious.
What?
I'm gonna share it.
Oh, I gotta log into
Uh,
Twitter.
no, you're not gonna be able to see it. It's a warning. Where's my share screen option?
Yeah. All right. Live.
Recording has stopped.
Oh shit. I can't catch that. Did you fall in a hole, Drew?
I'm getting it. It's taking a second. I hit some wrong button and I actually canceled my recording out.
Oh.
All right, let's wait to make sure everybody can see this. I was flagged for sensitive content on Twitter. You're not gonna believe what I got flagged for.
What?
The video we're doing right now.
Eh,
My link that I shared.
I'll have one too then.
Peeling the warning. This tweet doesn't have any nudity, sexual content, violence, gore, or hateful symbols. Correct. I mean, that's bad. I've been a long time since I've been hit with this on YouTube or on
Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter.
Yeah, I better go look and check and see if I got dinged with anything. Nope, I haven't. Interesting.
I mean, it's like I said, even Twitter. I mean, it's still happening, the censorship on there.
Yep.
Hey, James, I don't know how I'm coming up in your top 3 videos. I'm probably one of the most heavily censored
Oh,
channels on YouTube.
yeah. Right.
Which I might regret fucking canceling out that recording.
Yeah. How is he?
Which is why I actually been using Jetsy to do my streams from here of late because as long as I go to the website, Jetsy's website, I can use their streaming software to do my live streams and record. So I've always got a backup because, for those that don't know, when we do live streams, we still have to wait
I
for
didn't see
YouTube
the
to
live
process it.
stream. I didn't hear the live stream go back live.
No, that part, it was just the recording that got lost.
Oh,
Well, here of late, my stuff hasn't been syncing to Rumble either.
oh,
My
okay.
last 2 videos I did not upload to Rumble. They're in there in the pending. Oh, I remember those nights.
Yeah, but we are getting near that 2 hour befundle.
Yeah, we're getting
Um,
next hour break mark to where they're gonna where I have to restart the stream, and I'm not gonna restart it because
yeah, my brain is starting to get numb and dealing with this injury. I really shouldn't even be online to begin with. Um, so there is that. But you know, and I'm gonna leave y'all with this. I'm gonna challenge everybody out there. You know, do a bit of research of discernment versus deception. Do some homework on that. Seriously, do some homework on the true, actual meaning of discernment versus deception. Dig into it. Actual, literal meaning, not what Google tells you. Actually, pull out a dictionary and look it up and see what that actually means. And then, after you've done that, sit down and try and watch just 15 minutes of uh, news, and you won't make it 5 minutes. I don't think you will make 15 minutes, even 5 minutes. I honestly don't think you'll make it. It's I just don't. But with that being said, folks, I'm gonna have a cup of shut up, and I'm gonna let Drew send it off. All right, later.
later. Yeah, guess like I said, guys, I want to wrap this up. But it is what we're dealing with today. It is a great deception. The deception is we're all being played and pitted against each other. You know, every turn we go to, whether it be J6, Twitter files, elections, they're trying to divide us and keep us fighting amongst ourselves. I mean, just like they want to say it's domestic terrorism, what happened in Georgia, when in fact it is actually terrorism, because the majority of the people they arrested weren't from this country, weren't U.S. citizens. It's getting ridiculous. It's getting ridiculous how people just report these things and admit the facts. Because it's aligning to their label. It becomes propaganda and rhetoric protecting their label, just to stir up division amongst the people. Now, we're all supposed to be Americans, which means we're all brothers and sisters. We're not a label. We're not a Democrat, Republican, Independent. We're none of those things. We're Americans. We're brothers and sisters. We should be standing up for each other, taking a stand united, not divided. We're not pure bloods versus the vaccinated. We're American people. We're human beings. Quit letting them create these stupid labels that divide us and start seeing through the bullshit that they're feeding you. With that, guys, hope you guys enjoy the week. I don't know. I might do another video over the weekend over here, but the next one, two will be over on Twitter during spaces where I can freely speak more and say things, colorful things that I can't say over here. But you guys enjoy your break, dude.